Hey Eagles fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome into Chat Sports, and today we're going to go ahead and take all your guys' mailbag questions from a previous video earlier this week on Philadelphia Eagles Now and answer as many as we can. A lot of draft stuff, a lot of trade stuff as well. We're going to break all those down right now. We're going to start with number one here. Julio Vargas, he asked, should the Eagles go ahead and trade for Odell Beckham Jr.? I knew this question would pop up, and there were multiple questions regarding OBJ, so we'll put them all together here in Julio's question. Listen, here's the deal. This all comes because apparently there's a couple of reports starting in WFAN where they said the Vikings are trying to go ahead and trade for Odell Beckham Jr., that the Browns are trying to get rid of OBJ. Well, here's the deal. This is what the mock trade would look like according to WFAN. They said that the Vikings were looking to send a second-round draft pick and a fifth-round draft pick for Odell Beckham Jr. Now, as you know, today, at least not to my knowledge, Odell Beckham Jr. has not been traded. So if they were going to take a second and a fifth-round draft pick, then why didn't the deal get done? Well, there are multiple reporters in Cleveland saying, no, this is all fake, this is all false, we're not going to try and trade Odell Beckham Jr. So the question is, what is true? Who do you believe? Is OBJ actually in the trade block, or is he not? Here's the deal. I think he is, but he is for the right price. I think the Vikings, or the Browns, excuse me, want to get a first-round draft pick for OBJ, or else a second and a fifth. A ton of teams would have done that. If I was Philadelphia, I would gladly send a second and a fifth-round draft pick to go ahead and get OBJ. But again, the Eagles would obviously make the call and do the trade if he was available. The fact that this came out days ago and no trade has happened tells me OBJ, at least for now, is not on the trading block. Now, that can change. Obviously, he had a good year last year. We know that even with the injury at 1,000 yards receiving, but with what we are looking at in the NFL draft, if it's going to change, it'll probably be bumped up to a first-round draft pick and could happen next week. And for a first-round draft pick, I would not trade for Odell Beckham Jr. if I was the Philadelphia Eagles. Although, Eagles depth chart with OBJ, I mean, OBJ, ALSHON, Deshaun Jackson, obviously, potentially another wide receiver mixed in there in a second or third round. This would be a very, very good overall receiving core. I would give up a second. I would not give up a first-round draft pick for Odell Beckham Jr. Okay, quick ad break here on YouTube. Answer the pinned comment down below in the comment section. Here it is. Should the Eagles trade for Odell Beckham Jr.? Simple, type Y down below for yes, type N down below for no. I want to hear what you guys think regarding our Philadelphia Eagles and Odell Beckham Jr. Alright, moving on. Next question here comes from Let's GG. He asked, hashtag ALSHON Eagles, plain and simple, will ALSHON be effective this year after injury, or should we just cut and trade him now? Okay, I've talked about ALSHON a lot here. Everyone knows my stance. I want to get rid of him, whether it's trade or cutting him. It's a lot easier cut than trade, although the dead money is a ridiculous amount of money to go ahead and pay a guy who's not going to play on the Eagles. The question is, though, what could we do in terms of trading him in the NFL draft? Yesterday, I released a video here on Philadelphia Eagles Now talking about Eagles trading up or the Eagles trading down in the draft, and I gave you guys this mock draft trade right here, where the Eagles could go up to number 11, and they would give the Jets number 21 overall, a fourth-round draft pick, and Alshon Jeffrey. Again, the Jets, they lost Robbie Anderson this offseason. They are looking for a wide receiver. They can still get one at number 21 overall, but why not, if you're the New York Jets, go 2 for 1, you get Alshon Jeffrey, who is a little bit older, and yeah, a little bit expensive. The Jets have the money, though, and then get another one at number 21 overall. This, to me, makes sense for everybody, and of course, Joe Douglas, the former, I think he was the president of pro personnel for Philadelphia, is now the GM of the New York Jets, so there's some, you know, love there from a former organization working with a guy now with the New York Jets. This, to me, would make a lot of sense overall. Thumbs up if you guys like this trade. If you like the idea of trading Alshon Jeffrey, then give this video a thumbs up, because I would do this trade in an absolute heartbeat. Here's the deal. If we don't do a trade, we don't cut him, can he still be effective? Yes. Now, the injury, he's going to work back from that. He still is rehabbing back from the injury. He should be good to go during the start of the 2020 NFL season. And if him and Carson Wentz have ironed out their supposed beef, or at least Alshon's beef for Carson Wentz, then yeah, I'm all for Alshon Jeffrey being an Eagle. I just don't know if he can iron that out, and I don't want us to be... Let's say the Eagles are 6-2, and then Alshon starts running his mouth because he's not getting enough touches, and then it all goes downhill from there. That's my problem, really, with Alshon Jeffrey overall. Again, thumbs up this video if you guys think we should go ahead and trade for Alshon Jeffrey, or trade. Excuse me, if you guys think the Eagles should go ahead and trade Alshon Jeffrey. Okay, Strange Flicks asked, I think the Eagles are going to get a linebacker in the first round. Well, we talked about this earlier this week in our Mel Kiper mock draft, where we were mentioning that Philadelphia could get a linebacker, and Mel Kiper has Philadelphia getting a linebacker with their second-round draft pick, number 53 overall. Jordan Brooks from Texas Tech, and we talked about Jordan Brooks here on the channel, just about how, listen, not a very well-known guy, a guy I've seen in person, a guy I've seen dominate in person when I was covering Baylor and he was over there at Texas Tech. It's still a huge need, though. That's the thing. The Eagles really need to get a linebacker, and I think they need to get a linebacker as early as the second round. I don't want to get one in the first round. That's wide receiver. Get a linebacker in the second round overall, but Brooks, as you've seen the stats on your screen, is as good as they come for a second-round talent. It's not a very deep linebacker position or linebacker core in the draft, but he would be a great addition there at number 15 overall. And it's mainly because our linebacker depth chart is so poor, right? You have Jatavius Brown, you have TJ Edwards. I guess Nathan Gary, the special teams specialist, is the best running linebacker we have right now, the Eagles have right now on their team. But at the same time, they got to add another one. I would be for them getting one in the second round. I would rather not get one in the first round unless, you know, you want to go Kenneth Murray if he's there at number 21. You trade up for Isaiah Simmons, very unlikely, but I would rather get one in the second round. That's why I want to show you guys Mel's mock draft there for 53 overall with Jordan Brooks. What do you guys think? Linebacker or wide receiver in round 2? Type LB for linebacker, type WR for wide receiver. Curious what you guys think about getting a linebacker in round number 2 for the Eagles. Okay, more questions here. I think it's just JerMC asked, what are your thoughts on adding Ted Ginn Jr. from New Orleans as a great slot? Very underutilized there, hashtag Eagles. There's just no point, right? I mean, you can get every wide receiver at any point in the NFL draft. I would rather get a 21-year-old wide receiver with one of our 3 fourth-round draft picks than sign, you know, 30-plus-year-old Ted Ginn who had 30 catches last year and 421 yards. This is the whole deal. Trading for Dante Pettis, trading for Marquise Goodwin, trading for a guy like Ted Ginn Jr. It just doesn't make sense with how good the wide receiver draft class is this year. I'd rather draft somebody, and you can see the list on your screen right now. There are some very good wide receivers in the later rounds. Van Jefferson out of Florida. Antonio Gandy Golden is like 6'4" and supposed to be a jump ball specialist. Brian Edwards. Chase Claypool is going to be a third-round guy. I think you can get these guys for a much better value than trading away a 5th-round draft pick for an aging 30-plus-year-old wide receiver. Just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Todd McGladry, he asked, if the Eagles do trade up for CeeDee Lamb, do you think we will keep our second-round pick, and do you think we'll spend it on another receiver? I'm real big on Mims. I think Ayuk is good too, or use it to patch up another hole like linebacker. Okay, there's a lot to break down here in this question. I'm going to start with the idea of Mims versus Ayuk in the second round. I think both of them kind of probably will be second-round draft picks. Mims could squeak into the first round. There are reports that a lot of teams love him, but I could still see that more. Like, the Colts at 34 make a lot of sense for Denzel Mims. But you compare the stats between the two. We'll throw those up on the screen right now. Mims and Ayuk, basically similar catches, basically similar yards. Mims had more touchdowns overall, but Ayuk was a better deep ball threat in terms of yards per catch. Both are very, very good. Honestly, Philadelphia gets either one of these receivers. I think that is huge going forward for Carson Wentz. But then you ask, if we do trade our first-round draft pick up for CeeDee Lamb, do we get to keep our second-round draft pick? And the answer is most likely not. We did this whole mock trade thing yesterday on Philadelphia Eagles Now. This is a perfect example of one we talked about yesterday that would cost a second-rounder. You want to go get CeeDee Lamb, you got to get ahead of the Niners and ahead of the Raiders, and maybe even ahead of the Jets at 13, 12, and 11. So you trade up to number 10 with the Browns. Eagles get number 10 overall, but you got to give up. Trust me, this is what it would take. A first-round draft pick, our second-round draft pick, and probably a fourth-round draft pick. Unless the Browns will be willing to go ahead and take next year's second, it's just very unlikely you trade up and keep your second-round draft pick with the way that value we have in terms of earlier draft picks in the NFL draft. Speaking of the NFL draft, be sure to subscribe to Philadelphia Eagles Now because we'll have the latest draft news going into draft week starting on Monday, but also subscribe to our main channel, youtube.com/chatsportstv. We'll be having live draft coverage all 7 rounds next weekend. Literally, like the guys are going to be live for the entire NFL draft. It is the best place to watch the NFL draft, especially if you're online, can't get to a TV. We have you guys covered pick by pick. It's literally, I watched it last year, literally, basically exactly like an ESPN draft, if not better, but it's our guys here at Chat Sports. Be sure to go ahead and subscribe here and there. That way you guys are notified whenever we go live for the 2020 NFL Draft. Michael, he asked, why do you think we need to take a running back in the second round? Do you know of Miles Sanders? Miles Sanders, who's that? Yes, I do know who Miles Sanders is, but do you watch the Philadelphia Eagles? They need another running back because, what, Boston Scott's going to be your number 2 guy? Sanders had a very good last year. True. Miles Sanders is going to be a great player. True. Miles Sanders might be one of the best running backs in the NFL by the time his career is over. Also, maybe true. At the same time, though, he can't carry the football every single year. He's got to have some help. Now, we talked about this earlier on in the week. Comparing him to Christian McCaffrey in terms of their first season in the NFL, Miles Sanders was better than Christian McCaffrey. I mean, he had, 60 more carries, he had double the yards, he had 1 more touchdown. He was better, and then McCaffrey popped in his second year and, of course, got a big, giant deal, and we all know the history of Christian McCaffrey. I'm not saying Miles Sanders can't do that. He probably can. I think he will. I love Miles Sanders. But look at the depth chart. Miles Sanders is going to take breaks. Miles Sanders could get injured. Miles Sanders needs to be spelled, and you're not going to do that with Boston Scott and Elijah Holyfield. No disrespect to Boston Scott. He was very, very good late last year, but still, there's a reason he's an undrafted, practice squad guy for his entire career. Go get another one. That's why I'd be fine with them taking a running back in the second round, because there are some really good ones. Jonathan Taylor, J.K. Dobbins, DeAndre Swift from Georgia, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, national championship winning running back. There are some really, really good running backs. 2 is better than 1 when it comes to running back. Yes, I know who Miles Sanders is, but we do need to get another running back at some point in the NFL draft. Maybe it is in the second round. Maybe it's the third round, the fourth round. Gotta get me another workhorse. That way we can go ahead and spell Miles Sanders, because he's gonna have a massive year overall. What do you guys think? Do you agree with me? I agree with Michael that Miles Sanders is good enough. Should the Eagles draft a running back in round number 2? Let me know in the comment section down below. Okay, we'll go and do one more. Jacob asked, do you think trading with the Panthers to pick 7 would be worth it, or is it unnecessary? Okay, so we're talking about trading inside the top 10, something we did not talk about yesterday. Here's why I did not give you guys a top 10 trade scenario in my video yesterday. It's because it cost way too darn much. The difference between 7 and 10 is unbelievable what you have to give up to get into the top 10. Think back to the Carson Wentz trade to get up to number 2 a couple of years ago. So, you know what? I went ahead and put together another MOTT'S mock trade to see what it would take to go up to number 7. I calculated all the draft numbers out. This is what it would take, right? So we would get number 7. Carolina would get 21. They get 127 and next year's first-round draft pick. Yes, you would have to put in next year's first to make it all work. You would have to do it, or else it's basically impossible to move up that far. Now, again, is it worth it? I mean, maybe. You probably got to keep your second-round draft pick. And who could you get at number 7? Maybe Derek Brown, with the best defensive tackle in the draft. Maybe Isaiah Simmons, best linebacker in the draft. Could draft CeeDee Lamb. Could get Jeffrey Okudah, the cornerback, potentially. If the Lions want to trade out of number 3. Could you get a great player? Yeah. But is it going to cost you next year's first-round draft pick? Yeah. Is it worth going all the way up there? I think we're going to do just fine staying at 21 or going up to 13, 12, 11, or 10 and spending a little bit to go up there, but not as much as going up to number 7 overall. It's just, I would agree with you in saying it's just a little bit too unnecessary to think we want to go all the way up to 7 to get our guy, unless they are just over the moon for Isaiah Simmons or Derek Brown. Those would be the only 2 players that I would think are over the moon worth getting up to go ahead and draft, unless like Chase Young fell in the draft. We obviously know that is not going to happen. There you go. That's all the time we have for today on this Philadelphia Eagles Now mailbag video. Again, we try and do these over the weekend. You guys ask the questions. I answer. Hopefully I answered your question. If not, be sure to be subscribed and hang out and wait for the next one to come around, and I'll try and get you guys on the next one. Draft week is almost here. Stay tuned. Plenty of coverage here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. All the time we have for today. For Philadelphia Eagles Now, I'm Thomas Mott, signing off. Enjoy the rest of your day.